Brain-Based Learning in Infants by Laura Long and Brittany Wenning. While researching the topic of brain-based reading programs for infants, we found some very interesting statistics. According to the U.S. government, 40% of 8-year-old Americans cannot read independently. If a child isn't reading at grade level by the end of the first grade year, he or she has less than a 1 in 8 chance to ever catch up to reading at grade level again.
States use 4th grade reading scores to predict how many prisons they'll need in 10 years. A 1997 National Panel of Reading Specialists and Early Childhood Educators said that most of our nation's reading problems could be eliminated if we took 2 actions. Number 1, if we taught reading earlier, and number 2, if we used a combination of phonics and whole language approaches. The Spalding Phonics Program is one tool we can use to teach reading, spelling, and writing. Spalding Phonics is an old-school approach to teaching individual phonemes. It explains exactly how to pronounce each of the 45 sounds of the English language. There are 70 phonograms in the English language. This program uses repetition and application to teach phonics. Combining this with the whole language curriculum that most schools use is extremely effective.
Teaching reading earlier is the basis of the reading program for infants. The program is called Your Baby Can Read. It was researched and developed by Dr. Robert C. Titzers, Ph.D. As a professor and teacher for over 15 years, Dr. Titzer has shown in research that children who were taught to read at ages 3 and 4 read better than children taught to read at ages 5 through 8. He ascertains that waiting until school to teach children to read is too late. His research shows that children from birth to age 4 have the natural inclination to learn any type of language, whether it be spoken, receptive, foreign, or written.
Basic brain connections are made in a baby's brain before birth. During pregnancy, the brain functions to help the baby survive. Not all of the connections are formed between different parts of the brain. Through relationships and experiences in the baby's environment, more connections are formed. Infants form millions of new brain connections every hour. The way the baby makes these connections changes the physical structure of their brain, making learning easier or harder depending on their environment. 75% of their brain mass is formed by age 2. A 1-year-old baby's brain has more neuroplasticity than a 2-year-old's brain. Neuroplasticity is the ability to change based on environmental stimulation. A baby's brain has the greatest density of brain synapses by age 3. Researchers who have studied the brains of humans have shown that there is a pattern of rapid synapse formation during early development. Eventually, the density decreases to more adult levels.
The first 3 years of a child's life are the most critical for brain development because connections are being made. But this does not mean that the child is at their greatest brain power at this time. They are still learning after this age. Still, the first 3 years lay the groundwork for brain function. The first years of a baby's life are full of rapid growth and development in all areas. The brain grows by producing billions of cells and hundreds of trillions of synapses between the cells. Research shows that the first few years of a child's life is the time for parents to help their children start healthy patterns of lifelong learning.
The most natural window of language development is between 3 months to 5 years old. Studies show that early readers are more confident, have higher self-esteem, and generally do better in school and in life. The baby's brain develops nearly 90% during the first 5 years of life. It's easier for a child to learn both the written word and the spoken word simultaneously during the infant and toddler years when the brain is creating thousands of synapses every second. A baby's brain is wired to seek out and learn language. Babies can hear the different sounds and patterns of speech in any language. For example, Japanese babies know the difference between the R phoneme and the L phoneme, but lose the ability because it's not in their environment. Chapters 4 and 5 in our textbook, How People Learn, corroborate Dr. Titzer's research almost verbatim. Many of the examples are the same in each book. The scientific research is also similar. Our textbook states that infants are not a blank slate. They can process information and apply knowledge. The environment and experiences are 2 major factors that contribute to learning. Dr. Titzer reiterates this.
Studies prove that the earlier a child learns to read, the better they perform in school and later in life. Early readers have more self-esteem and are more likely to stay in school. Meanwhile, a national panel of reading specialists and educators determined that most of the nation's reading problems could be eliminated if children began reading earlier. Dr. Titzer's reading program for infants seems developmentally appropriate. It is research-based. It could be the answer to the world's literacy problems.